StarCast, the StarCraft podcast, is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for other great esports and video game podcasts. Want to support StarCast? Check out our sponsors over at doghousesystems.com, makers of some of the best gaming systems out there. If you use the code StarCast at checkout, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system and support StarCast directly in the process. That same code, StarCast, will get you 30% off and free shipping over at tweakedaudio.com. They make high-performance, noise-reducing earbuds. We'd like to thank our sponsors for their support of StarCast, and if you'd like to sponsor an episode directly, you can do so at thestarcast.com.
Hell, it's about damn time for StarCast.
Incoming transmission.
Biscuit.
Greetings and welcome back to StarCast episode 182. This is the StarCraft podcast. I am Garrett Weinzierl, and with me as always is Kyle Fergusson. Mr. Fergusson, how are you doing on this lovely Thursday evening?
I'm doing all right. I barely made it.
I know.
It was a bit of a slag getting home. For some reason, the weather decided to be 2 degrees above freezing today. So it rained all day instead of snow, which is beautiful unless you live in a city, which means they just pile the black stuff on the side of the roads. But I know it's all going to be ice tomorrow. And it's like there's footprints in the snow that are full of water, and those are going to be ice cubes. It's going to be murderous.
Lovely. I'm sorry to hear that, sir. I'm in Florida where it was a freezing 87 today.
And remember when you're with your siblings and you would play that game where like one of you would put your hand down on something and then the other one would put their hand on top and you'd pull out your hand and put it on the other one and you just kind of get lost in this like hand slapping battle?
No, that sounds really lame. You had a very boring childhood.
I mean, it's about as thrilling as a thumb war, you know? It's just one of those things you do. Or let me put out my hands and you put your hands on top of mine and I try to shake them and slap your hand. You played that, right?
Yes, that I understand. But just continuing to put one hand on top of the other, what's the point of this?
There's no point. You're like 4. It's just kind of one of the things you do.
Gotcha.
Either way, it's in reference to the extremely drunk or maybe just very old man that was holding the pole next to me. And I had my hand on the, train pole, holding on so I don't fall over. And his hand in this glove just kept slipping down and touching mine. I'm like, I had to lower it a little more. It just kept slipping down further and touching mine. So I went on top. And then he like nearly fell over and grabbed on top. And so just started sliding down and pressing mine again.
So it's like the creepy... Have you seen Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle?
Yes.
The waiting room scene with the creepy old dude just slowly putting his pinky on Kumar's hand while he waits for Harold.
Yep.
Yeah. Great. This is a funny freaking movie.
Oh, I had a great time in that movie. Saw it in college. But when I went to the theater, this mom brought in like 2 8-year-old children to watch it.
I can top that.
I'm trying to watch a stone cheetah run at top speed here and enjoy myself.
We went to go see the Evil Dead remake.
Oh, no.
Some woman brought in her 3 children that could not have been above the ages of 6.
I'm sure they're going on to be botanists, perhaps? If
you've seen the movie, I hope you get that reference. If you haven't, don't worry a damn thing about it. So,
oh dear.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that I think wraps up the top of the show off-topic rant quota.
Well, other than I do have to invite people for you to check out your Titanfall demo video.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I played a lot of Titanfall the last couple of days. I got into the beta, and if you go to amove.tv right now, you'll see a little thing called Introducing Titanfall, where me and Tash, one of the writers for Amove TV, went in and got our asses handed to us, but we had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, that's a fun video, and you guys are just overjoyed. There's some jubilation in that game that I haven't seen since, like, Halo days.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Ben from Amove Radio, and he's like, well, what's it like?
You don't have to remind me.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, what's it like? I'm just like, I feel like it's like my first time playing Halo multiplayer again. Like, it's that much fun. So
it's exciting. The problem with those are always going to be like, I don't know, do you get in early where everyone doesn't know what's going on? Because I feel like, in strategy games, it's a lot of skill. I don't know. It's hard to say. But there's something about shooter games that is extremely unforgiving, and there's usually not a ladder system to just kind of help you out and put you against.
No. I think shooters more than any other game is the game to get in at the ground level.
Yeah.
If there's a game you should not wait to get in on the multiplayer of, it's a first-person shooter, because that shit just gets brutal.
How was the ladder system in that game, if at all?
Titanfall? Well, non-existent in the beta. I don't know what's going to be in the live game.
But it wasn't like, select your server from this list of 200 with symbols.
No. It felt a lot like Xbox Live.
Okay.
You just hit play, and it just threw your ass in a game.
Cool.
It was really quick, really snappy. I had almost no issues at all with the connection. I'm really impressed because, honestly, EA been sucking hard lately. I was real skeptical.
Yeah, it's always funny when we start getting around that time of year where they do the worst company awards, and EA's sitting there like, "What? We're not polluting the ocean. We're not like extorting the economy." It's like, no, but you make entertainment that's supposed to be fun and for children and adults, and you do these things.
You're charging full price for products that are not finished.
Like, we know that dead dinosaur plants are bad to move below ground. And it's going to kill a lot of animals if it gets in the water. We already knew that risk when we got involved. But you make video games, EA.
Lovely. So with that all in mind, go check that out if you're interested in Titanfall. If you're not, here we are to talk about StarCraft. First up in the news this week, Blizzard is looking for a new lead game designer, which begs the question, I wasn't aware that Dustin Browder was just done and on to Heroes of the Storm full time.
Yeah,
I knew he was over there and working, but David Kim's over there, and he's still in his StarCraft tower from time to time, decreeing the new balance changes.
Right, and they certainly do feel like, towered decrees at this point.
Yeah, a little bit.
But we heard a couple weeks ago, I think back during Christmas, that David Kim was moving over to Heroes of the Storm, and Dustin Browder certainly seems involved in Heroes of the Storm. So I guess there's just a big old void sitting there. So if you happen to have released, just, whatever, in your spare time, release a AAA game in the last, 5 years, you can apply for this position. No big deal.
And if you've ever listened to the show, you'll know it's very easy and not much will be expected of you.
No, not at all. But it is exciting because it's like the new president, it's fresh. Change.
But we don't get a vote.
No, we don't get to vote. Blizzard does all the voting for us.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the BlizzCon, we went to the Heroes of the Storm panel. The people doing the panel looked like it was Chris Siggety and Dustin Browder. It was the freaking head of the StarCraft team.
Yeah.
Giving this panel on a completely different game. So it's interesting. I wonder, is Chris Siggety even still involved in StarCraft in any way, shape, or form? Now they've got me questioning, like, who the hell is making StarCraft now?
Right. Is there a way to even look that up? Just the team? Team 1? Is it? Is that Team 1?
I don't know, dude.
I don't know which team is which. Isn't Hearthstone like Team 10 or something?
Team 5.
Oh, 5, okay.
That one I know because they like mention it. Like, they refer to themselves as Team 5 a lot. I feel like everyone else kind of just like, the StarCraft team.
Oh, yeah, but that's like coming to America and saying you're from a European nation. You just don't come over here and say, we're from Europe, whatever. So, like, no, you say where you're from because it is sexy.
Good point. So, anyways, that's interesting. This came to us because, there's a job search page right on the Blizzard site. And, right there, lead game designer. So go apply. Have fun. And other news this week, one of the things that I think at least affected me the most was from the community. Jinro, formerly of Team Liquid and very, in the early days, the great foreign hope who, actually made massive dents in Code S in the early days of Wings of Liberty. We haven't really heard from Jinro in a long time as far as StarCraft is concerned. Made a really nice post on Team Liquid, basically talking about, I don't know, how would you put this? He's basically making a counter argument for all of the negativity that's just being slung around, the Team Liquid forums, the official StarCraft forums, and just, the Reddit.
Right. He kind of just fell out of the woodwork here, but apparently he's been studying in, what was the nation? In Hong Kong, and just getting ripped as hell and learning to be an MMA fighter.
An MMA fighter, yeah, which is just awesome. He apparently when he stopped playing StarCraft, he went to poker, and now he's getting into MMA. The reason why his blog here is really interesting to read is it's a blog that is pro StarCraft, written from the perspective of a spectator, but a spectator that also just happened to be a very high ranked professional player at one point in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
So it's you get a lot of entries from people who are just fans of StarCraft, but this fan also happens to be, a previous pro player. So,
and he's been there, and I feel like Jinro certainly, for the Wings of Liberty days, was in it during the rough times.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean
he backed out because he was not having fun anymore. But it's interesting for him to bring up something that I know we brought up on this show before, and I know we actually did on an episode with Hearthstone as well. And then way long ago, probably in like 130 territory, I investigated all the old Brood War patches on this show. And that game took 4 years to be like finalized after the game had come out. All the games, the expansion, everything. And so it was a nice little like Jinro reminding us that these things take time, and Brood War was not perfect, and you guys really need to stop idolizing it.
Yeah, he breaks his thoughts down into like little sub thoughts with headlines, and my favorite one is, but in Brood War, this is one of his headlines, and then he goes in and just be like, yeah, we had large periods of stagnation just like today. Get over it.
Yep.
He specifically cites, he's talking about PVZs. He said that the Zerg's game plan would be to get to 3 bases, spam Lurker Spores Sunken, and then, depending on the map, take islands and use the same defenses there while dropping Ultraling or going straight 3-base Hive Ultraling into more bases with the same defense. He said it honestly didn't look that much different from the current Swarm Host turtles that we're seeing.
Yeah, but he's very encouraging about Swarm Host play, which has certainly been a hot topic recently, saying, quote, you know what? I think it's a great unit. And goes on to say that it's breaking the death ball problem.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I kind of like it too. I mean, first of all, I don't feel like it's run its full course. It's not like last year we saw an entire year of Marine, Mine, Medevac. We've seen a month of Swarm Host. Can we just calm the frick down for 2 seconds and just enjoy this? Because I don't know, I'm enjoying it. I also happen to like MOBAs, so maybe that's why I'm enjoying this just stream of crap. I don't know how to deal with this free units, but I kind of like it too.
I see what you're
I also
saying.
hate Protoss, and I love watching them just die to this wave of death.
White Raw made a post a while ago that was basically saying, stop comparing this game to MOBAs, because you know what? MOBAs are easier. And it's as simple as that. Like, you can't just keep saying, well, it's stagnant and all that. Well, yeah, it's kind of hard for something stagnant when there's 150 heroes and all skill levels are playing this game intensely for many hours a day.
Plus, instead of one person playing against one other person, you have 10 individual players with their own personalities and play styles on the field at a time.
Yep.
So, it's not a fair comparison by any stretch or means. So,
but I love that he was like, yeah, let me Google that for you. And he just gave a link of Team Liquid, just post after post for all through 2006 up until 2011 of people screaming, imbalance, this game is dead, this game is broken. And now we're sitting here. It's the same thing that happens with presidents. Everyone hates the president while they're currently going, oh, this is awful. And then, heaven forbid they die. And then they're just immortalized and plastered in gold. But, give them 10 years and we're like, damn, that guy was good.
Yeah. You're just making me want to talk about House of Cards, which I just finished last night.
I haven't dug into that yet.
Have you seen the first season?
I saw the first half of it, and then I don't know. I'm still really weirded out by that scene where she's running through the graveyard, and the old woman yells at her, and that never came back into play. Like, was that supposed to be her feeling old, or that she's gonna die? It was symbolism, maybe.
Well, I didn't want to get down this rabbit hole. I was just an aside, curious thought. But back to Jinro's thoughts here. You should watch House of Cards because it's really good. I like it. The whole thing kind of he's using facts and the history of both games, both the history of StarCraft 2, because he also reminds everyone, hey, remember what Wings of Liberty was like? Oh, you don't? Well, I played in it and it sucked.
Yep.
And he even cites, the Wings of Liberty playstyles as one of the main reasons that he probably left the game in the first place. And that now, getting to enjoy it as a fan and spectate it, that he thinks it's vastly improved from the Wings of Liberty days. And I don't think, not to put words in your mouth, that you or I would really disagree with that.
No. I mean, we're in a rough period. We're just coming out of a huge break from tournaments. Mm-hmm. So things are just kind of getting chugging. And during that time, when people aren't innovating and they're just practicing what works, guess what? First people out of the box, if they do well, that's what works for the rest of the season.
Right.
So we're going to see this sort of thing. And I think it's really cool that, one, we need to take the time and acknowledge that things aren't as bad as they could be or were. I mean, we're not dealing with, infestor mothership, just to throw you all back. And hey, a lead designer, right? So everything's changing.
We did deal with a little infestor mothership in this week's GSL, but we'll worry about that later. Yeah, we didn't, what didn't come down to Vortex. So yeah, it's good. If you haven't read this, I highly, highly recommend it. This is one of the most enjoyable reads regarding StarCraft I've had in a while. And if you go to teamliquid.net, I believe it's still right up there at the top. Just look for, what's the title? SC2 is the best it has ever been is the title.
I mean, he was always, one of the Jedi, too. Like, he was always very positive, coming in here, and him telling people to shut up, like, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jinro.
So now he's a glowing blue ghost, like he's just leaning in, like, use the Force innovation. Turn off your targeting computer.
Right, but we edited him out because the other version of Jinro was kind of weird. No one really knew who he was. Don't make me go down that road because I was looking for audiobooks this week, and I started listening to my first Star Wars book.
You've been listening to Darth Plagueis.
Yep, Darth Plagueis.
Is it good?
It's actually, well, thank goodness it's an audiobook, for one. Because when it kind of goes into Star Wars jibber-jabber with the counselor, and it's read by this man with an extremely deep voice. Oh. And he does an awesome job, sounds great, but there's just some jibber-jabber, and here comes the Twi'lek with his Twi'lek things, and Tendrils. In the background played Bantha music, and it's like, I guess I should know what these things are, but thank goodness I read Dune, because now I'm just completely immune to
You just accept it for as it is.
Yeah, I'm just like, right, of course there's a Jabba Flabber in the middle of the table. Why wouldn't there be?
Moving on in news this week, less positive, less happy news, Team Azubu is disbanding. It's going to shut down its esports division. Apparently, Azubu TV is still going to be functioning and running. But as far as StarCraft is concerned, they only have 2 players currently on their active roster. They have Supernova and Boom Boom. So that always sucks to see teams go under.
Yeah. When you only have 2 players left, it is sad.
Right. I mean, it's less of a blow, obviously. I mean,
exactly. This is the team that used to represent Symbol, Sleep, Ragnarok, Genius, Ganzi, like Inca, like Violet. These are all names that we've heard in the past, but I just named about 2 names that have already retired.
And these were all big.
Have moved on to other teams.
Yeah, and these were all big ESF players, right? Azubu was not a Kespa team. And with ESF disbanding, I'm sure there's really not nearly as much of a support structure in place.
Yeah, but we're going to see this sort of thing. I mean, just like we're seeing esports used as a more general title now. So I'm seeing a lot of articles about, this place is building, or DreamHack right now is building its, official full-time studio to record their stuff in. And we're going to see some, downsizing of teams. It's just the way it goes. And some teams are going to drop out because we'll have the main ones. And there is going to be StarCraft being played right next to other games because it's all going to just kind of come together.
Yeah. So you had a couple other stories you wanted to talk about. You want to lead me into these, Kyle?
Oh, yeah, the Starbow Ladder is up. So those of you interested in Starbow, this was the custom map that was made by a fan who we've talked about quite a bit over the past few weeks, and they finally put up a ladder. So by going to their website and signing up for it, you can participate. And right now, you know, the top ladder guy has 42 wins. So it's not like the most populated ladder in the world, but now there's a system for you to kind of compete against people.
Yeah, rank 50 has 6 wins. So a lot of people, it doesn't look like there's been a massive swell of people jumping on this yet.
No, but one of the problems with Starbow is it's just in the custom maps right now. You go in there, you wait, and anyone could show up. And it could be a guy who's amazing. And guess what? He's probably amazing at mods of the game, too.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of tournaments coming up for Starbow, and certainly, like, Tasteless has been streaming a lot of Starbow. Yeah, it's continuing to get attention.
Yeah.
And I do still feel like it was a nice catalyst to kind of get our minds moving. And hey, for this invitational tournament, we have Crank and Ryung and TT1,
Nice.
Sasquatch.
Awesome.
Quite a few people going to sit down and play some Starbow. Oh, their symbol's actually a bow. I still don't know what that means now. And now I'm even more confused. I thought it was some sort of Brood War thing.
Yeah, I don't get it at all. And I was thinking bow like a bow on a package, not a bow and arrow. So.
Oh, this is my president.
Present.
Yes, present. Sorry, I already said president like 3 times tonight. Couldn't work out.
And you haven't even been watching House of Cards.
No. Is that about the president?
Yes, very much
this
so.
Time? He wants to be president?
Well, let's start. The whole thing starts off because he gets snubbed by the president. Anyways.
Wrong.
And then what is this win rates by supply difference thing? This is the first time I've seen this.
Yeah, so a Reddit user, Stoic Lufa. Stofe. Oh, even better. Not a made-up word. I like that. He went through and did a whole bunch of math and graphs this past week by pulling all sorts of information from all the replays that he's gathered over 10 months of pro replays and put it into a system so that he could look at the various tables that would be built as to what the supply difference is between armies when you win and at what times you win. Now, graphs don't work the best on podcasts, so definitely head to our show notes, take a look at this. I often believe that if you're making graphs and you want to be good at StarCraft, you should probably stop making graphs and practice StarCraft. But yeah, I understand, like, you're looking for that sweet win and, you know, that one sort of variable that you can kind of cheat the system and, like, just launch ahead. But it is amusing to look at because you'll look at something like a ZVP win rate. And you can basically go, oh, hey, right there at the 6-minute mark, there's a big old spike where Zerg sometimes takes the game. And it's just kind of cool to read into it. And I feel like I'm looking at the Matrix. They're sitting there going, Morpheus fighting Neo. And there's just numbers streaming on the screen. But they can see it. And they're like, yeah, brown
TVT is just like against the roof for the second half of this graph.
Yep.
Well, all right. I'm not a graph man.
No, but it is interesting for those who are interested in graphs. So yes. I wanted to throw it in there.
Yeah, go check that out. We've been talking about Heroes of the Storm every time there's something new to talk about. So Stormwatch comes back this week because there was another quote-unquote developer Q&A this past week. It wasn't really developers. It was the art team. I got to say, almost nothing newsworthy from this thing. And you know me. Every time we get back from a BlizzCon, Garrett, what was your favorite thing? I went to this art panel for this one game, and it was amazing.
Well, we did finally get to see a recorded and casted map or game with the map of Dragonshire.
Yes. Yeah, and they put it to a vote, and that's the map that actually won. And this is the one where if you capture the 2 things, then you can go and summon the Dragon Knight. Or one of your guys, I guess, becomes the Dragon Knight.
Which it should, because we've seen 2 of the other 4 maps already. Yes. The one we haven't seen yet is the Captain's Booty. At least not in a long time.
Yeah, the one with the ghost ship.
Yep.
I really wish these maps were from the the 3 different IPs as opposed to just new things.
Oh, you're not digging on the Nexus?
No, I'm not. Like, I'm digging the game. I'm very excited for it, but I feel like, I don't know. The whole thing is supposed to just get you jacked and like, I'm such a Blizzard fanboy. It's pulling on all my Blizzard heartstrings. And it's like, then why am I playing in this freaking map that looks like it belongs at Fantasyland Disney?
I feel ya. It has a wonderful World of Warcraft. Well, not even that. More of a Warcraft 3 look to it. All the maps do.
Yeah.
It's that toony strategy game. It looks really crisp, and I like it. But I agree. Like,
but you could apply that style to a Diablo map or a StarCraft map.
When I saw a suggestion I really liked this week, that was, how about Thunder Bluff? There's 3 different sides to it. You have to capture the 3 points, and then in the middle, you summon the thing and have the battle. And, visiting places like that would be really cool.
That's what I mean. I would much rather have the maps be these centerpieces from the Blizzard universe, as opposed to what feels like just throwaway whatevers.
Yeah, I get what they're going for, but I feel like they actually had it a little stronger in their original build of it when the spawning units were like chessmen. Now they're just kind of like random, almost like the Final Fantasy tactic wizards.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. And then the mega creeps all just look like ogres from WoW.
Yeah, and then the old maps, it wasn't as polished, but they had the sort of chessboard checkers all across the entire map, and it just kind of gave it this in-between world, this is a game quality. And now we're existing in real worlds with like ogres we've never seen before that aren't World of Warcraft ogres, and why not? The dragon, like, we've got dragons, like Deathwing, he was on a box. Why not turn into Deathwing?
Yeah, you're drinking my Kool-Aid. You understand this.
No, I agree.
You know what I'm talking about. I'd rather fight in Molten Core than Fantasyland.
Sure. I think it's a cool in-between. I think it works, but it's just strange for them to say, like, everything can go, nothing can be wrong, and yet we have, like, roller skating Nova, which to me is just offensive. And I know, like, MOBAs, I may be, like, the really weird one that, like, if I'm jungling or laning by myself, I'm, like, getting into character and, like, enjoying myself and being like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'm going to go grab it. Oh, I have the haste thing. Oh, I'm boosting across. And, like, I'm just so super into it, enjoying the character. And there's something about seeing her go by on rollerblades. I'm just like, oh, no. It just knocks me out of that.
I don't know. That is less egregious to me. And again, really excited for this game, and I feel like this is probably the most nitpicky thing I'm feeling. But considering this entire panel was with the art team, it made me think about it more.
Well, you weren't impressed by the overhaul or anything like that they talked about?
The redesigns of the characters?
Yeah, they kind of
they look great.
Down. I think Uther used to look like a fat kid. Now he looks a little more cool.
He looks a lot like his illustration on the Hearthstone card.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. He looks badass. Like I said, I get stoked about these because I feel like we're going to learn some new things about the game, and I feel like we learned nothing about the game this week.
It was a little disappointing in that way, and I'm beginning to feel that these are not going to be the 22-minute games they're hoping for when we get it in our hands. There's going to be a lot of variables. People are going to be more competitive than the team is there. They probably, worked on this one ability, and so they have a hard time thinking outside the box about it. I'm just seeing 45-minute games again for the future.
Okay.
I like all the thing. I haven't disagreed with any of the collecting items, getting the shrines. Like, I love the pace that the game has. And boy, oh my goodness, what a difference it makes when half your team doesn't, after a fight, just go shop. Like, you keep pace going when this happens. It actually is kind of, looking like it could be a really enjoyable esport for that reason.
Oh, absolutely.
There's always stuff going on. And I looked at the mini-map for a little while, and I was like, where's Nova? And I'm like, oh, she's up in the upper lane. She's not on camera right now, but I know she's helping out. She's contributing XP right now. There's no question, like, where are you and why aren't you doing anything?
It's very similar to spectating StarCraft. If there's more than one engagement going on, the spectator's going to watch the largest and the most important engagement, but you're going to see that mini-map like, okay, there's some harassment going on in this mineral line over here.
Right, but just the amazing change in pace that the game makes just because you don't have to, go shop for items, or people aren't dancing, letting someone get the last hit because they should have it, not your character. Though, to be fair, Zeratul looking a little OP.
I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. Very, very cool stuff. I don't want to end this as being like, I wish it was like this and that. I'm very stoked for this game, and I agree with everything you just said. And for whatever reason, your shopping joke just made me think, like, what if, in football, they make a touchdown and then they just, I'm going to go buy a new helmet. I'll be right back.
It feels like that for me. That's called a commercial break, though.
That's very true.
We moved 5 feet.
Blow the whistle, commercial.
I do stuff for points.
He poked that guy. Commercial.
Yep.
Gotta love the NFL.
We're taking a timeout break right now, and this is really crucial because they're trying to unnerve him by making him wait 30 seconds. Wow.
Yeah. The casting on this game that they casted was really good this time around.
Oh, I'm really happy.
I love me some Day 9, but clearly they should have let him play more of the game before having him cast. You can tell with Kevin Naki in there, who works at Blizzard now, that he's clearly had some time to play, I'm sure, an internal version of this game.
Oh my God,
Kevin Naki,
he knocked it out of the park. We don't get to see him
do his work. He knocked it out of the park. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I walked in that, I guess. Or you just made it up. It's gross either way. But no, he did an awesome job casting this. I'm really excited to see, him to just do that more in the future. Husky did a good job, but still and Day 9 was just, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't play these sort of games.
But he became Question Man, which was good.
Right.
It's okay.
Right. And during that, when we were watching that video, which was the Grave Golem one.
Yes.
We all had a lot of questions about what was going on there.
Yeah.
The Dragon Shrine, a little more obvious. You have to contribute, one person into the dragon. Seems like a problem. I mean, you're trying to get rid of all this sort of, not individuality, but this, we have to have the best person or a carry do something. And that just kind of seems weird in this world to have one person become the dragon. But hell, if you're playing on a team, I think you can agree that one person should go in there. And they kind of mentioned a strategy with Zeratul that he could blink, so he'd make the best choice for being in the dragon so he can get out of there.
Gotcha. And then as more heroes are added and as team compositions become less and less common, that's going to be switched up a lot on the fly.
Yeah, and that's my biggest fear for the game right now is no matter what it looks like and plays like at launch, we're going to see so many heroes get added to this thing over time. And I'm just already hearing the complaints and the game is dying in my ears. I've been doing this for too long, Garrett.
Well, you're just a negative bastard. You need to cheer up.
Oh, no, it's Kel'Thuzad. Kel'Thuzad is ruining the game. His mechanics are broken. He better be broken. Kel'Thuzad was a badass. Can't wait to play as that guy.
I hope he gets to summon Mr. Bigglesworth.
Did he get to do that?
In Nax Ramus, his cat's walking outside, and if you kill it, he gets all pissed off.
Oh, I didn't know that. I never did Nax.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there's a little cat walking around the entrance of the raid. Its name is Mr. Bigglesworth, and if you kill it, you hear him down the hall go, "I'll curse upon you." He starts yelling at you because you killed his cat. That's
pretty awesome. One of the saddest things about talking WoW with people is people who played exclusively or mostly during Wrath of the Lich King, because I missed that. I leveled up, I loved it, but I didn't do any raiding in it.
You missed literally the best expansion.
I know, and rating. People will always be talking to me, and they'll be like, so, what's your favorite? And I'm like, oh, man, like Karazhan, and man, I was really digging it was a bitch, but Mactheridon, man, that was cool. And I'm just looking in their eyes and just blank, and I'm just thinking, you're just thinking about Uldar, aren't you? You're just...
Uldar, yep.
You're just completely just...
It's good stuff.
Twitter-pated by that place.
That being said, Burning Crusade was when I first started raiding, so I like Karazhan totally gives me the nerd chills that it gives you.
Yeah, well, they're like changing up spider webs in there. I'm kind of getting excited, like they're going to redo it, but
I hope so.
Who knows?
It's a freaking mage tower, and needs it needs to be reused.
Let's talk. We were talking briefly before the show about just the the power that these other games are showing. We have Here's the Storm putting together these QAs, showing gameplay. It's soon to come, maybe beta. They kind of hinted at the end there. Hearthstone, open beta. The guys are just throwing themselves out there, being on podcasts, doing interviews, just constantly communicating. The WoW team doing their tweets. Cloakin does what he can for us, but I feel like StarCraft's a little underrepresented right now.
Oh, I agree. What was my number one complaint from BlizzCon, Kyle?
Not enough StarCraft?
There was no StarCraft.
Right. So, it's, I don't know. Is it like complaining about Hanukkah and Christmas? It's like, well, we get 7 presents a week because we have, because we have WCS. So it's like, well, but it's not Christmas,
No, it's not. It's not a game. We're watching a game. We're not getting to play a game.
Yeah.
It's completely different. Anyways, let's talk about some of the games we watched this week because WCS is finally in full swing with Code S already almost completely through its round of 32 and the Premier Leagues for both America and Europe getting into swing. So Code S, we love it. We love it very much. And Group D and Group E have come and gone since we last spoke, Kyle.
Yes.
So Group D, man, this is the first kind of little fist bump I've had all WCS long. Solkey and Squirtle advance out of the group. I couldn't have asked for 2 other players I wanted to see move on.
Sure. I can't say, I think I can speak for you and say neither one of us are too familiar with Pet and Sora.
No.
But Solkey destroyed this group, and it was a delight to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Also, if you missed Squirtle's games versus Pet, if you want to see what a smackdown looks like, watch Squirtle versus Pet.
Jeez.
It was just, it was no good at all. It's like that scene in 300 where he does the shield slam, and it just looks like a dude hitting a wall at 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And then Group E, which was the group I was actually probably most excited for because since there is such a Protoss bias in GSL this season,
really?
I have
what Protoss
I have to pick some Protoss to root for, and I'm always going to root for Parting because he's a god amongst Protoss.
Sure.
And he was in Group E, and then one of the only goddamn Terrans, Byong, was also in Group E, and you know what? Guess who won? Parting and Byong. I'm so stoked. This last week of GSL has been good to me.
It's a good week.
It's a very good week. And is it tomorrow? What's today's date? Yeah, tomorrow is another group I'm really freaking excited for because both Maru, one of the last Terran standing. Well, Byong advanced, so he's still in the tournament. But so Maru's in there, who I love to death, and then Symbol, who's one of my all-time favorite Zergs. Is in Group F as well. We've got Classic, the only Protoss in Group F, and Hydra, another Zerg. So tomorrow should be a good game as well.
Hydra plays Zerg.
What was that?
What?
What'd you say?
Oh, I said Hydra plays Zerg? What?
You never know.
Took a while to come up with that name. What do I got next to me? Nest T? We're good to go.
Well, no, imagine if Marine King switched races, man. You think he's going to change his name? I don't think so. He'd just be the Zerg playing Marine King. It'll never happen, and the universe will implode upon itself, but yeah, I'm glad he's back. He's been streaming this past week, too. I haven't had a chance to catch it yet, but I'm just stoked to see that he's doing stuff again.
I'm excited to see Life go at it. He certainly is not the powerhouse he used to be, but 5 days from now, I'm gonna be watching Life.
I feel like Life is the second coming of Nesty. He's like Nesty 2.0. He kind of hit that status where at least I hold him in like the same regard as I held Nesty during the Wings of Liberty days.
It's more, he's so solid that it's just kind of like I just want to see him play and I want to observe it and I love watching him. Dong Regu has this kind of like crapshoot to him. And you can't help but watch the gamble and, watch it just go around the back rack table and you're like, come on. But you kind of know that the house always wins.
Yeah. Yeah. Sad.
At this point, anyway.
And then Group H, I'm sorry, all 4 of you. I don't really care about any players in Group H.
Curious and Roro, man, they're good.
I know. They're not players who I have followed for multiple years now.
Right. Curious is rather standard and definitely deviates based on what the current meta is. And Roro has his moments and then doesn't. So not the most thrilling player either.
So DRG is what you're telling me.
Yeah. Yeah, without all the ladies standing around, hoping that he's going to get a private room.
Did you happen to see game 2 between Parting and True?
No.
Okay, because that's my pick for the week. Like, go watch it. It's just really, really freaking good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really, really did.
So that's a PVZ, but what was did we break any molds or just a good...
Well, it looked like True had Parting's number, like real early on.
Nice.
And then Parting just... we were complaining about force fields last week, which is funny that I actually enjoyed watching this, but he held off this aggression from True with just force fielding the ramp after force fielding the ramp after force fielding the ramp. But he lost so many units in the early beginning. He was going for this Immortal Sentry composition, and he lost something like 2 or 3 Immortals and 10 Sentries in the beginning when he was starting to get his composition together.
Wow.
And then True was just up his freaking ass, on his ramp trying to get in, and he's just barely warping in sentries fast enough to get force fields out on that ramp.
That's awesome.
And then he manages to just finally swing it back to a stable position where he can start pushing True back, and I feel like True probably lost it more than Parting won it, but it was still a phenomenal game to see, especially because in game 1 there was a really, really good engagement between True and Parting, where Parting got off the best force fields he possibly could have, and he still lost the engagement, and it cost him the game. So then it was interesting to come into game 2 and then see force fields save his ass completely.
Damn.
Even when he was so far behind, but True really he didn't transition fast enough, and he just stayed on Roach laying too long. And eventually, Parting just kind of got the upper hand.
Force fields have a counter, but we never see them because no one is like, Sentry, I need to rush massive units. Let me get my Archons, Thors, and Ultralisks in here to take care of that.
Yes, Thors, the best unit to lead a charge.
Was it last week that you and I got stuck in that game? It was 2v2, but the other guy's teammate left.
Yes.
And so he just sat on the double bases, getting double income. And we were both
turtled so hard. I have never seen a man turtle like that man turtled.
It was phenomenal. We were having a great time, laughing with this guy. I had no idea who he was, but man, he was playing Wings of Liberty campaign. He had to hold for 30 minutes, and he had already won. It doesn't matter if we overrun the base and took the game in the end. Raynor's ship had already flown in and carried him off.
Yes, as far as he was concerned, yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. So yeah, good week of GSL. Really good week. It's I have my faith back.
Good. Well, and it's always, as we said before, just favorite thing about the GSL is the preparation that they bring. Mm-hmm. And so even seeing something as disappointing as just a landslide victory is often attributed to that player just being that good and that prepared. And that's cool, rather than just being well, the ladder didn't work out and these two people shouldn't have fought each other because the skills are not matching up. How do you get this far?
You're right. But if we want to stop being excited and talk about the biggest disappointment of the week, we can talk about the WCS America Premier League results from this week so far, because no one has moved on that I think you or I would want to see move on. So Group A from WCS America Premier League has already played, and Alicia and Oz move on, meaning Nesty and Desro are out. And
which are the two people we rooted for. Oz, I'll give it to Oz. Yep. I enjoy watching him. But
and then Group B, everyone's rooting for Scarlet, right? Yeah, she didn't make it. So Desro and Scarlet just gone. Goodbye. Sad.
Not the worst rollover for her, but definitely a shame and sort of at least breakout year moment.
At least Heart, it moves on. At least we get a Terran moving on in some tournament somewhere. That's nice.
It's been really funny to watch just throughout the different tournaments, the single Terrans that are available to compete winning this week kind of banishing the Protoss hate for a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll see as we go further into the season what that's going to be like. Maybe when we get to Group E, that is 3 Protoss versus 1 Zerg, maybe we'll start complaining again.
Yeah, and then speaking of foreigner favorites, in WCS Europe, Naniwa has been eliminated in Group A. So I'm not a fan of his, but a lot of people are.
Right, and it's just disappointing to have that sort of momentum just die that quickly after a break. It's one thing when the tournaments are just piling up and you can kind of automatically do what we were doing in the past, which is, oh, well, he's out, but that means he can prepare for that tournament that's happening next weekend. Or
ACS ROG is going on. We'll see him in that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not as packed as it used to be. So when you're out, you're kind of out for a bit, and also you got to work your way back up.
Yeah, absolutely. So. WCS American Europe off to a rough start for if you're a foreign fan, but GSL getting real nice, getting real good. So let's take an email before we end the show. You can send emails to starcastshow@gmail.com. Again, the inbox is getting cleared out, guys, so send them in. They will get on the show. Our email this week comes to us from Jason Fixer Smith, and he says, "Hello, gentlemen." Well, that's putting a lot.
Formal.
Yeah, it's giving us a lot of credit.
I'm not even wearing pants right now.
I never wear pants. He said, I have been a listener for roughly 2 years now. First and foremost, you guys provide an awesome show. Thank you for what you do. He said a little about me. I have played StarCraft off and on for years, but only got into the esports scene once Wings of Liberty came out. I am a high silver/low gold, very casual player. I was an Army grunt for 6 years and am now a weapons instructor in the Air Force. Well, damn. Tell me, is it actually like that Carbot episode where he shows what happens inside a barracks? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know, Fixer. He said, I also have a wife and a 1-year-old daughter, so I don't have a ton of free time, but I do enjoy playing SC2 when I get the chance. And now Hearthstone. Thanks to you both. LOL. Sorry for that. It's a really fun game.
We're actually doing Hearthstone. I'm biggest fan this week, too.
Are you? Oh,
yep.
Okay. All right. He said, I wanted to weigh in on the Protoss is too strong debate. I'm a Zerg player, and I find that if I can't handle Protoss, it's because of my lack of skill or crappy unit compositions, not because Protoss is OP. I can't speak for Terran players, but at Zerg, we do have options. Roaches with burrowed movement is a good option to deal with force fields, plus the added bonus of regeneration. Double that with Hydras, and it can be a very devastating combination. With regards to the early game, Ling Speed and Roaches is split correctly for us round is deadly. Again, I'm not an expert, and I don't claim to have the in-depth knowledge that the pros will have with balance. However, down at my level of play, if I lose to a Protoss, it is simply because I didn't react properly. Anyway, that's my 2 cents from a casual player's perspective. On a side note, it would be great to be able to meet both of you at an esports event sometime. First round of drinks are on me. I am always down for free drinks. I mean, meeting nice people.
Awesome.
Thanks for the email, Jason. Yeah, I don't disagree with anything he has said here. Although I would say in a lot of cases, if someone loses at StarCraft, 99.9% of the time it's because you didn't react properly, regardless of your level of play.
Right. As a Zerg player, you gotta go Roaches. I mean, I'm trying to think of other ways around it, but like you send in a ball of Lings against Zealots, guess what? It doesn't work out.
Right.
But it is a shame, too, when you went Roaches and you were expecting that huge wave of Zealots. Instead, you got a bunch of Stalkers, and you're like, oh, if only I had a ton of Lings, which I use in every other matchup. So I'm more than happy to have multiple strategies across multiple matchups. That makes it a strategy game and not follow the instructions.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Fixer, if you're listening and you want to jump on a fun bandwagon, you should start making swarm hosts. They work really good against Protoss.
They do, at least if that patch goes live, which I am excited for because I want to see some Tempests.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, in regards to early issues, it really just comes down to the photon overcharge and the fact that Forge Fast Expand still exists. So you put cannons around one of the bases, and the one that doesn't have the cannon, you just make sure you've got a photon overcharge waiting.
Right, or if it's not even a complete wall, it does get really disappointing. You know, it's not a full wall off, but it is a forge fast expand. You take the lings, you run past them, you lose a couple to the first cannon, and you get up into the base, and you have to run all the way through the mineral line up into the main, and then there's a photon overcharge, and maybe even a cannon up there for you. So times have changed, and you know, if your alarms are going off of OP-ness, well, it's just your Wings of Liberty sensibilities that are out of whack.
Yeah,
and
you said OP-ness.
I sure did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
You're very welcome. It's a joke we've made on the Angry Chicken many times.
It'd be a shame to let that go.
Yeah.
It's the white pigeon of jokes.
Indeed it is. Sorry, what were you saying?
I don't. Oh yeah. You can't judge photon overcharge off of what used to work. It's a completely different mechanic.
Yeah. So again, thanks for your emails. If you want to send them in, send them to starcastshow@gmail.com. That brings us to the end of this episode. Kyle, I'm sorry.
What? That's over?
It's over.
It's already over?
It's already over. That's it. We're done.
Oh, damn. Oh, I guess we should mention
Slap
we
a
got a
label on it.
correction in our inbox this past week from Disco Rax. Last week we said that In Control doesn't play anymore, but he in fact competed in the Ender's Game Invitational and got into like third place for it. So he did quite well.
Yeah, he had to drop out. He had to forfeit for he was going on vacation, I believe.
Wow.
Which is funny. It makes me think that he didn't think he was going to make it that far.
Yeah, I guess so. That's pretty funny. I can't play video games, guys. I gotta go on vacation.
Oh, how dare you? Oh man. Well, congrats in. That's awesome. So, thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't done so and you're an iTunes listener, please leave us a review in the iTunes store. It's the best free way to help out the show. So do that. As always, StarCast is a production of amove.tv. You can find this and many other awesome shows like Amove Radio and The Angry Chicken over there. You can find more about this show directly at amove.tv/StarCast. We record live Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/AmoveTV. Our VODs are on youtube.com/StarCastShow, and our mobile live stream is provided by Alpha Geek Radio. And you can go to mobile.alphageekradio.com for that. AlphaGeekRadio.com is also a website. You know, it's their main website. Go check that out. But if you're looking for the mobile stream, make sure you throw the mobile in front. As previously mentioned, our email is starcastshow@gmail.com. We'd love hearing from listeners, so please send in your emails. Our forum is over at forum.amove.tv. Our Twitter has recently been changed to @StarCastShow to bring it in line with the email and jazz. So follow @StarCastShow on Twitter. Follow me @Garrett Art. Kyle can be found at Kyle Fergusson. And my graphic design portfolio, which is, you know, how I make money on the side, can be found at nomoonart.com. That's no moon, like no moon, art.com. I will not pull you in with a tractor beam, I promise.
Oh, because it's not a moon, it's a space station?
That's no moon.
Is that why you named it that?
Yeah. I also named it because naming Garrett Weinzierl doesn't work in audio form because no one has a clue how to spell my last name.
That's pretty funny.
People ask, like, why is it No Moon Art? Because Weinzierl is impossible to spell. And Garrett.com is taken.
Garrett's nice and, like, precise, though. And you get a lot of video game character names.
Which I never knew about Thief. And who the hell else in video games is named Garrett?
The Dragon Age 2 main guy.
Never played it. Okay, so games I've never played. Good to know.
Right, I can't think of anyone named Kyle other than like my N64 Ocarina of Time file.
Yeah, I was just about to say I've been playing Ocarina of Time again because I got it on the 3DS, and yeah, the president in House of Cards is named Garrett.
Sweet,
yeah.
President Garrett.
Yeah, President Garrett. It's good stuff. Kyle, where can people find you when you're not doing this show?
You can also find me at Biggest Fan Podcast, where we follow the fad that's driving you mad. And last night, I was driven mad by beef jerky. Like, literally. We had 2 Slim Jims, 2 of those, like, beef sticks, a bag of premium ultra turkey jerky that came in a package that was solid gold. And then some bison jerky. And just, I've never been so dehydrated in my life. and I've never had to spend so much to prep for a episode of Biggest Fan. So that'll be coming out Monday. Watch for that. This next week is Hearthstone, which, Brockett's a big Magic fan, but has not touched Hearthstone yet. And he's
Really?
he's put it in that box, kind of like World of Warcraft, where a lot of people do the whole I'd like that too much, I'm not going to play it. And for me, I'm like, what? Why would you do that to yourself?
But I can understand WoW, because there's a significant time investment involved. But Hearthstone, you'll play like a 5-minute game and be done.
Exactly. That's like
You
I'm
can.
not gonna...
A lot of people don't, but you can.
Right. WoW is like saying I'm joining a league. And I'm going to play in the company team. And you're
Yes.
like, oh, well, that's an investment. But if you're going to play Jax by yourself for 5 minutes a night, no one cares. Have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I did not know Brockett liked Magic. I was of the belief that he and I didn't agree on anything.
That's pretty funny. No, he's got an ancient Urza deck, which is just
I don't even know what that is. Yeah, I've only been playing for over a year now, so.
Well, it's basically creatures for free, and all the creatures he's accumulated over some 12 years are impossible, and Weatherseed Tree Folk and such.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know anything before Innistrad. That is as far back as my Magic knowledge goes. So.
Oh, current TV. I'm excited for the South Park game as well.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm getting all up on that.
And in fact, I was giggling to myself this afternoon thinking about the new position as lead game designer, and all I could think of was the scene in South Park where they're doing so what do you think we should do, Michael Bay? He's like, well, how do you fix Starcraft? It's just and a battle cruiser's like
I hope for the sake of the first childhood interest of mine to be made into a big movie that I really actually do love and care about, that's not how Michael Bay came up with the script for the Ninja Turtles.
by actually watching the old show.
No, I hope he put more effort into it than that.
Then Transformers, you mean?
Yeah, I liked Transformers as a kid, but it wasn't like my all and all be all. Everyone makes that joke. Well, you're raping my childhood. I don't feel like anything that was really that close to me as a child has been destroyed yet. Well, maybe Indiana Jones. Yeah, never mind. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, Indiana Jones hurt a lot.
That hurt.
I mean, go watch the original Transformers. There are cars driving in space shooting lasers, and you can't tell what the hell's going on. It is not a good show.
No.
Now, the new one that just ended recently with the Beast Hunters, that's a good show.
I've heard it's amazing. Transformers Prime.
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard it's very good. I haven't seen it personally, but all of my buddies who enjoy animation love that show.
And I really enjoyed the cartoon they did with Captain Picard as the bad guy for Ninja Turtles.
I have no idea.
It came out right when 3D TVs or HD TVs were first coming out, and it was
you were talking about that was a movie. You say cartoon,
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, no, that was just TMNT, and it actually used continuity from the original trilogy of live action films.
Really?
Yeah, at the end when Splinter goes to the wall of his trophies, it's Shredder's helmet from the end of Turtle 2. It has the Shogun masks from Turtles 3. And it had all of the stuff from the live action films there, which made me very happy.
Secret of the Ooze was always my favorite because you got buffed up Shredder.
Yeah, me too. Super Shredder. Come on, man. Say it right.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
And Vanilla Ice.
Right, and Vanilla Ice. And yet Bebop and Rocksteady in that weird sort of everything's real universe, but that kind of made them extra cool.
They were really cool costumes, though.
Yeah. I miss the sunglasses and the flannel shirt. Couldn't squeeze that in there for me.
The purple vest.
I hope Michael Bay's movie is about the neutrinos. They were awesome. And the Rockmen. Yeah, that show was completely bogus.
Yep.
And if you ever read an interview and they're like, we were just hanging out in our garage, having a good time and playing some games. And it's what you're completely, just glossing over is the alcohol and drugs that were involved in the making of this show. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's that. I'm a big Ninja Turtle fan, if no one knew that. I enjoy quite a bit. So I think that's where we'll end this. Again, please go check out our look at Titanfall over on amove.tv or over on the YouTube at youtube.com/StarCast show. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank our sponsors, Doghouse Systems and Tweaked Audio. Our code is StarCast. That'll get you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig, as well as 30% off and free shipping off of your entire order of earbuds over at tweakedaudio.com. We thank them for their support. We thank you for listening. And until next week, good luck and have fun.
Take care.
It's a show. Thank you, chat room.
Sweet.
Ugh.